Hey, y'all. I didn't even know how I really wanted to start this. And it's not because I don't have anything to say, but it's just I didn't want to come back to this space forcing anything. So I'm just going to say this: I'm here, I'm present, I'm accounted for. Definitely not perfect, definitely not fully put together. And I'm not coming back with a grand, I'm better, I'm back and better than ever speech. Not at all, because that is so not the truth. The truth is, I'm here. I'm just here. And for right now, that's what feels most honest for me. And honestly, I think, honestly, honestly, I think honesty is a good place for me to start again. Welcome back to the Quimby Chronicles. Or if this is your first time here, welcome. Welcome in. Come on in. This space is where we talk about real life. We talk about motherhood. We talk about healing. We talk about growth. And most importantly, we are talking about figuring it out as we go. So today's episode is just a little different. Um, and it's different because this one is not just a conversation. This is a return, a rebirth, if you will, for me. Let's go ahead and say the obvious. I've been gone for a while. I've been gone. And I could come in here and give you this clean, polished, rehearsed explanation, something sounds all neat and wrapped up like I have my life together, but that wouldn't be honest. The truth is, life has been extremely heavy. Not heavy in like a dramatic way, not heavy in a everything fell apart way, but it's in that quiet, weighty, hard to explain kind of way. The kind of heavy where you're still showing up for everybody, you're still showing up for your responsibilities, you're still taking care of people, you're still doing what needs to be done, you're getting it done. But on the inside, you don't have a thing left over after all that. And for me, creating when I was in that place, it didn't feel right. It didn't feel honest because my thing has always been I never want to get on here and I want to perform like I'm okay. When I know that I'm running on empty in real life, I've done that before time and time and time again. And then, after a certain time period, it starts to feel like you're betraying yourself in these little tiny ways, just this one task here, this one task there. It looks like smiling when you're tired and pushing when you really need to pause. It comes through as talking when you really need a moment to be quiet. So I got quiet. And I didn't get quiet because I didn't care. That's never the case. But I got quiet because I cared enough not to force myself through something that I didn't have the capacity to do or the capacity to carry, and I think that's something that we don't talk about enough. We have to look at it as sometimes, we don't fall off. We just take a step back, and those are not the same thing. Falling off and stepping back are not the same. Stepping back can be protection. It can be preservation, and it can be the very thing that keeps you from burning all the way out. And being in that space, being quiet, being still, it taught me some things. The things that I learned weren't loud, life altering lessons, but just little quiet truths that sat with me, truths that over the years have been dismissed by me and others as laziness or, you know, not doing what I'm supposed to do. So the first lesson I learned is that rest is definitely not the enemy. And, I used to look at rest like it was something that slowed me down, something that took me off track. Like if I rested too long, I would lose momentum, I would lose discipline, I would lose progress. But what this time off has taught me, what I'm realizing now, is that rest didn't break me. Trying to push through when I was already exhausted, that's what tried to break me. And piece by piece, bit by bit, I was just breaking down. And I felt it. I felt it, but I ignored it. Rest didn't make me fall behind. Rest didn't make me fall behind. It helped me not disappear completely. The second lesson I learned, and this was a hard one, consistency without capacity is self betrayal. That was a hard one because, you look at consistency as showing up, showing up, showing up, showing up, showing up, but we don't take into account the energy it takes to show up. So, we start to glorify consistency and, we always like stay consistent, don't stop, keep going no matter what. And we have a special guest. Look, he wants to say hi to the camera.
Hey guys,
Say hi to Sean.
this I would be out here, but she didn't ask me. Loser. Sorry, she's not a loser. I love my mommy.
I hate it. I hate every moment of it. We focus so much on stay consistent, don't stop, keep going no matter what. Consistency matters. Consistency is key, but I feel like nobody really talks about what happens when you're consistent, but at the expense of yourself. And that's how I was starting to feel like me trying to be consistent in all these different things was just chipping away at me piece by piece. When you keep showing up and you're drained, you're disconnected, emotionally, you're empty, I don't I don't think of that as discipline. I feel like that's self-abandonment, you know, and that's something that I had to sit with because for all my life I've been taught consistency matters, consistency is key, but nobody talks about what it costs to be consistent. The third lesson I learned is that I'm allowed to come back different. And I think part of what made it hard to come back was that I was feeling like I had to return to the same version of me, the same version of this podcast, who I show up for, who I show up as for you guys, the same energy, the same space, the same expectations, but that wasn't real. I mean, that's so not real and not sustainable for me anyway. So I know that I'm not the same person I was before I got quiet. And I used to see it as a problem, but I don't feel like it's a problem. I really don't feel like it's a problem. I feel like it's just me growing and it's just me living. And I feel like that's what happens when you actually live through something and not ignore it and shove it down and push it to the back, like we normally do. So I had to give myself permission to say, I can come back, but I'm coming back as me. I'm not coming back as who I used to be a year ago, who I used to be 6 months ago. I'm coming back as the me now. The fourth lesson I learned was that healing doesn't always look like a glow up because my healing has not been looking like a glow up. Um, it didn't look like a big comeback moment. What it looked like was things like going to bed earlier, protecting my peace, not forcing conversations, and giving myself space to say, I don't want to do that. I don't feel like it. Not today. It looked like me choosing calm over chaos. And it looked like even when the chaos felt more familiar, how sometimes chaos can give you that comforting feeling because it's so what you're used to. But that kind of healing, honestly, it's not flashy at all. It's very low key, sitting in the back. But the thing about it is that it's real because it comes from in here, not out there. So now we're here. and I'm starting again. Not the way that I used to, or not the way I did the last time I started, because if you know, you know. Starting again, for me before used to mean, oh, I need to get it together. And I say it all the time. I need to get my life together. Saying things to myself like I need to be consistent, or like feeling like I need to make up for lost time. But now, I mean, starting again looks like something completely different. Starting again for me right now looks like releasing pressure, because I'm not trying to catch up. I'm definitely not trying to prove anything. And I'm not trying to make this big dramatic return. I'm just taking one step and letting that one step be enough. It looks like honoring my capacity. Day to day, I'm asking myself, what do I actually have the energy for today? And whatever the answer to that question is, I'm letting that guide me through my day. Not guilt, not expectations, not pressure, just my answer. And it's because I'm not building anything meaningful on top of burnout anymore. Burnout will not be my foundation anymore. It also looks like choosing presence over perfection, because I don't need to have everything figured out to show up. And I feel like that was a big part of my problem, feeling like I had to have everything perfect. So I've realized I don't need the perfect words. I don't need the perfect mood. I don't need the perfect plan. I don't need the perfect look. I just need to be willing to be here and show up just as I am. It looks like being gentle with myself. And this is the part that matters the most. Let me be clear, gentle doesn't mean that I don't care. Gentle doesn't mean that I'm not serious about what I'm doing. Gentle simply means I am not dragging myself through life anymore. I'm not talking to myself harshly. I'm not treating myself like I'm a machine. Learning how to begin again with kindness. And this is where this really lands for me. This time around, not forcing consistency. I'm choosing sustainability. I don't want a rhythm that burns me out. I want one that I can live with. So, what does that all mean for this space? What can you expect from me from now on? You can expect something softer, something slower, something more intentional. Because I'm definitely not here to flood you with content, because I don't have the time anyway, but I'm not here to flood you with content. I'm just here to try to create conversations that feel real. The conversations that feel grounding in this time where everything is so tumultuous and so chaotic. I'm here to create conversations that feel like you're sitting with someone who gets it. Believe you me, we're still going to talk about motherhood. We're going to still talk about healing. We're going to talk about life, growth, and life transitions. But we're going to do it in a way that leaves room to breathe and leaves room to reflect. And maybe this isn't just about me. Maybe this is your moment too. Maybe there's something you've been wanting to start again. Maybe there's something that you've been wanting to start again, but you've been waiting until you feel ready. You've been waiting until you feel motivated, waiting until you feel clear. And maybe you don't need any of that. Maybe you just need to begin gently. So, yeah, this is me starting again, not loudly, not perfectly, and not all at once. Just honestly, just gently. And if you're in a season of beginning again too, I do hope you give yourself permission to do it softly. I hope that you stop measuring your healing by speed. I hope that you stop feeling like you have to earn your own grace. And I hope you remember this. You're not starting from scratch. You're starting from experience. And that matters. This time, we're not forcing consistency. We're choosing sustainability. Before you go, take a breath with me. Breathe in, breathe out. You're doing more than enough, even on the days it doesn't feel like it. If this episode felt like a mirror, share it with someone who might need it too. And I'll be right here next week. Same space, same grace.